Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to work on 15-2, which is understanding more numerical patterns. So please write down your WALT and then join me for the lesson. We're going to start with our solve and share. It says, during summer vacation, Julie read 45 pages each day. Her brother Brett read 15 pages each day. Complete the tables to show how many pages each of them read after 5 days. What relationship do you notice between the terms in each pattern? Okay, so here's day 1 for Julie, and she reads 45 pages each day. So I'm going to add 45 to 45 and get 90. And then I'm going to add it again to 90 and get 135. Then I'm going to add it to 135 and get 180. And then I'm going to add it to 180 and get, I think that's 225. Yep, 225. Okay, so let's do our 15s over here for Brett. He reads 15 pages each day. So this would be 30, then 45, then 60, then 75. So that's our pattern of numbers. And then it says, and this is the important part, what relationship do you notice between the terms in each pattern? They change the same way. So whatever pattern is here will be here. But because it's easier to work with smaller numbers, I'm going to look at the top here and I'm going to say, I know that 15 times 3 is 45. So I'm going to say, Brett, always reads 1/3 as much as Julie, or Julie always reads 3 times as much as Brett. Either one of those would be correct. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual work today, the guided practice. We're going to be using the information from what you saw in the visual learning bridge. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and fold this in half again and just use the bottom half so you can see everything. Number 1 in guided practice says, Nico says that the relationship between the terms is that the number of miles run is 1/4 the number of miles biked. Do you agree? So I need to say, well, is 30 1/4 of 120? So if I multiplied 30 times 4, would I get 120? And I would. So that's true. And again, because we're increasing by the same amount every time, the relationship to these two numbers would be the same as these two numbers and their relationship. Okay? So I'm going to say yes, because 30 is 1/4 of 120, and 150 is 1/4 of 600. And there are different ways you could say it. Like I could say yes, because if I multiply 30 by 4, I get 120, or what have you. It's something you could just say it in the way that makes sense to you. How many total miles will Jack have run and biked after 10 weeks? We only have 5 weeks here. There's a really simple way of doing this, which I'll show you in a minute, but I also want to show you if we follow the pattern. We know that he's increasing by 30 each time. So if we continue our pattern, I'm just going to bring this up, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to add 30 each week. So 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, right? That's going to be the final answer for that one. And then I'm going to do the same over here for biked. But I want you to notice what I could have done differently. So 120, they are adding 120 each time. We're starting with 600, 720, 840, 960, 1080, 1200 is what we should end up with there. That's actually easy to make a mistake with too, by the way, so be careful. Sorry, I'm looking and making sure I did that right. So what I could have done is they have 5 weeks here. I could have just said, well, 10 weeks is going to be double. So I'm going to double 150 to 300, and I'm going to double 600 to 1200. Okay. I also could have said, well, if he runs 30 miles each week and I have to add 5 more miles, then 5 times 3 would be 150, and 150 plus 150 is 300. You could have done the same with the total miles biked. So there are different ways of doing this. How many total miles will Jack have run and biked after 10 weeks? We have 300 miles run to 1,200 miles biked. And then they asked us for 15 weeks. Well, I'm going to make this simpler because, as we just discussed, in 5 weeks, he's going to run 150 miles, right? 30 times 5 gives us 150. So I'm just going to add, this is week 15 for both. I'm just going to add 150 to 300 and get 450. For 1,200, if he did 120 a week and I'm doing 5 times that, that's 600. So if I add 600 to this, I get 1,800 miles for that. So for my 15 miles, so let's do 10 weeks. 15 weeks equals 450 miles run to 1,800 or 1,800 miles biked. Now, the last question should be relatively simple for us to explain because it says Miguel says that he can use multiplication to find the terms in the patterns. Do you agree? We did just use multiplication, so we know that we can use it. And I'm going to say this. Yes, because the pattern is repeated addition, which is also multiplication. Okay, so that's that. And then we've got our independent work, which is similar, and then your backside. Good luck, guys. Today's lesson isn't too bad. You just have to be careful and make sure that you're following the patterns carefully. You know, if you make a mistake, you know, this is the type of thing where if you made a mistake here, everything else will be wrong. So just make sure when you're adding or you're multiplying that you're checking and making sure that you're doing a good job. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And I think tomorrow's going to be actually kind of a mixed review of math. I'm going to start slowing down a little bit and sort of reviewing things from the year. So you might be seeing something a little bit different tomorrow. And tomorrow's Friday, which is great too. All right, guys, I miss you. I'll see you soon.